Today, Pecco Bagnaia converted pole into a composed sprint victory at Brno, holding off a late hunt from Ai Ogura to claim his first MotoGP win of 2026. The Italian's tire choice and early pace proved decisive as he managed vibration and race rhythm to close out a controlled 10-lap race. For Bagnaia, who has spent much of the season searching for a natural feel with the Ducati, this result was both a breakthrough and a reminder of his ability to adapt under pressure. Marc Márquez added a valuable sprint podium at Brno but made clear his priorities remained physical recovery and rebuilding a sustainable foundation. The Spaniard framed the result as a step in a longer process. Race day signs of progress matter more than immediate championship calculations. His reflections reveal a rider who has recalibrated his ambitions, focusing less on points and more on the durability of his career. Aprilia's Marco Bezzechi has been immediately suspended from the Czech Grand Prix after stewards ruled he struck circuit marshals while they were recovering his bike following a sprint crash. The FIM MotoGP panel applied an urgent disciplinary measure that removes the Italian from Sunday's race and opens a fast-moving appeal window for the team. The decision is one of the most dramatic disciplinary interventions of the 2026 season, underscoring the seriousness with which MotoGP treats any breach of conduct involving safety personnel. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Bagnaia led from the front and set the tone in the opening laps, using an aggressive early push to build a gap he could then manage. Ai Ogura, starting from his maiden pole, settled into second and looked likely to mount a late attack, especially given his choice of the medium rear tire. Bagnaia admitted he had flashbacks to Mugello, where Ogura had carved through the field to snatch a podium from him at the last corner. This time, however, Bagnaia's composure and tactical awareness kept the trackhouse rider at bay. Marc Márquez, meanwhile, rode a measured race to secure third, continuing his recovery trajectory with another solid sprint podium. "I was not expecting to win today, but we are working well." The tire call was pivotal. Bagnaia and Marquez ran the soft rear, while Ogura opted for the medium. Bagnaia explained that the soft compound gave him the confidence to push hard in the opening laps, allowing him to establish a buffer before switching to a conservative engine map to protect the tire. The decision reflected Ducati's willingness to gamble on short-term grip over long-term stability, a risk that paid off in the sprint format. The first 3 laps were crucial. "I tried to push and after that I just put the safety map and tried to control the gap." In sprint races, the soft rear often becomes the weapon of choice. Its explosive early grip can decide the outcome before degradation sets in. Bagnaia reported vibration from lap 4, a common issue when running the soft rear under sustained load. Rather than panic, he adjusted his riding style, altering corner entry and throttle application to stabilize the bike. These subtle changes allowed him to maintain pace without overstressing the tire. His ability to adapt mid-race highlighted both his maturity and Ducati's progress in giving him a front end he trusts. "In the last 3 laps I started to ride in a little different way and it was better." The capacity to modify technique under pressure is a hallmark of elite riders. Bagnaia's adjustments showed he can manage problems dynamically rather than relying solely on setup. Bagnaia admitted he expected Ogura to arrive. "He will arrive," but judged that his advantage on used rubber and controlled acceleration would be enough to hold him off. The sprint demonstrated Ducati's ability to convert pole into race control when tire choice and early pace align. Yet Ogura's speed remains a warning. His consistency on the medium rear suggests he could be stronger over the longer Grand Prix distance. Marquez's podium also reinforced Ducati's depth, while Aprilia's pace in practice means the Sunday battle is far from settled. Sprint races often serve as tactical rehearsals. Bagnaia's success with the soft rear will influence Ducati's Grand Prix strategy, but Ogura's medium tire resilience could shift the balance. Bagnaia's sprint win restores confidence and provides a platform for the Grand Prix. The team will focus on reducing vibration and refining setup to sustain pace over 21 laps. If Bagnaia can replicate his aggressive opening and maintain composure under pressure, he will be a strong contender for another podium, and possibly a full race win. For Ducati, Brno has become a proving ground. The sprint showed their package can deliver, but Sunday will test whether those gains hold over distance against rivals like Ogura and Bezzechi. Bagnaia's victory was his first since Malaysia last year, a symbolic milestone that could mark the turning point in his 2026 campaign. Marquez described the sprint podium as proof the recovery program is working rather than a headline result. He stressed that a sprint requires roughly half the physical effort of a full Grand Prix, so finishing strongly there is a meaningful milestone in his return to form. The podium was not celebrated as a victory but as a checkpoint in a long rehabilitation journey. "I don't know if it's worth titles or not, but it is worth continuing the process we're in." Sprint races, introduced to MotoGP in 2023, have become a useful gauge for riders returning from injury. They allow competitors to test intensity without the prolonged strain of a full race distance, offering a controlled environment to measure progress. The rider repeatedly returned to a single theme: long-term availability. He said he avoids race week distractions and prefers not to know peripheral information that could shift his focus from recovery. Marquez warned that without continued physical improvement he risks shortening his competitive longevity. His insistence on patience reflects a maturity forged through years of injury setbacks. "If I don't improve physically, I won't be here for many years." This perspective marks a shift from the Marquez of earlier seasons, who often prioritized immediate wins over long-term health. Now, the emphasis is on sustainability, a recognition that his career depends on careful management of his body. Marquez rode conservatively when opportunities to attack appeared, citing the need for perfect control to attempt overtakes on modern MotoGP machinery. He explained that the pace was uniform across the front group, making risky moves unlikely to succeed without jeopardizing his recovery. Instead, he positioned himself to exploit rivals' mistakes, a pragmatic approach compared to his trademark aggression of 5 years ago. On the sprint's incident count, Marquez pointed to high temperatures and close running as factors that increased risk. He highlighted Ai Ogura as a formidable opponent, cerebral in race management yet capable of sudden aggression, and identified him as the clear favorite for the Grand Prix if conditions remain dry. Marquez's respect for Ogura underscores the Japanese rider's growing reputation as a consistent threat. Marquez praised Alex Marquez's return from injury as surprising and encouraging, noting the medical clearance was the key step while muscular recovery will take longer. He likened such comebacks to footballers testing themselves in short bursts, stressing that no rider is obliged to finish a weekend if the body resists. His comments reflect both brotherly pride and professional understanding of the risks involved. Marquez's reflections reveal a rider who has redefined success. For him, podiums are not about titles but about proving that his body can withstand the demands of MotoGP. He knows that the ability to finish races with energy is a prerequisite to fighting for wins again. The Brno Sprint podium, therefore, is less about silverware and more about reassurance, a sign that the process is working. Marc Márquez's Brno weekend reinforced cautious optimism. The sprint podium is a constructive data point in a staged recovery plan, but the rider remains focused on rebuilding endurance and consistency across an entire weekend. If he continues to finish races with energy and avoids setbacks, those incremental gains could translate into sustained competitiveness later in the season. For now, Marquez's message is clear: the standings can wait, recovery comes first. The incident unfolded after Bezzechi crashed during the Tizot sprint, prompting marshals to enter the track to clear his stricken Aprilia. According to the official report, the situation escalated when Bezzechi became physically confrontational, pushing and hitting the marshals as they attempted to move his machine. The steward's document emphasized that the altercation occurred during active recovery operations, a moment when marshals are most exposed to danger. In motorsport, Marshals are volunteers who risk their safety to protect riders and maintain order. Any aggression toward them is treated as a grave violation, not only of sporting rules but of the ethos of respect that underpins the paddock. The FIM MotoGP stewards convened a rapid hearing on Saturday evening. After reviewing testimony and evidence, they applied Article 3.3.2.2 of the Disciplinary Code, which covers actions prejudicial to the interests of the sport. The ruling imposed an immediate suspension, barring Bezzechi from participating in Sunday's Grand Prix. The sanction is effective without delay and does not depend on prior results or standings. Stewards finding: the rider's conduct during marshal assistance constituted a breach of discipline severe enough to warrant exclusion from the event. MotoGP rarely enforces immediate suspensions. When it does, it signals that the behavior is incompatible with the sport's values and safety standards. Aprilia retains the right to appeal, but the regulations stipulate a narrow timeframe. The team must file within 1 hour of the penalty's publication. Appeals can only succeed if new evidence or mitigating circumstances are presented. Until then, Bezzechi's suspension stands, leaving Aprilia to reorganize its race strategy at short notice. The compressed appeal window reflects MotoGP's need to resolve disciplinary matters before race day, ensuring clarity for teams, riders, and fans. Bezzechi's exclusion is a major blow to Aprilia's weekend. As one of the team's leading riders and a championship contender, his absence removes a critical source of points in both rider and constructor standings. It also shifts pressure onto teammate Jorge Martin, who must shoulder the burden of maintaining Aprilia's competitive momentum. For Bezzechi, the suspension risks tarnishing his reputation and could influence how rivals, sponsors, and fans perceive him going forward. In a season where margins are tight, missing even a single Grand Prix can alter the trajectory of a title campaign. The incident comes at a time when MotoGP is already scrutinizing safety protocols, particularly after several high-profile crashes and debates over start devices. The paddock is expected to react strongly, with many riders likely to support the stewards' firm stance. Protecting marshals is non-negotiable. They are the backbone of race operations, and any threat to their safety undermines the sport's integrity. Governing bodies across motorsport, from Formula One to endurance racing, share a common principle: marshals must be respected at all times. MotoGP's swift action reinforces that principle. The immediate consequence is clear: Marco Bezzechi will not race in Sunday's Brno Grand Prix unless Aprilia successfully appeals within the strict 1-hour window. The team now faces a strategic dilemma: whether to contest the ruling or accept the suspension and focus on damage limitation. Beyond Brno, the incident raises broader questions about rider behavior under stress, the pressures of competition, and the mechanisms MotoGP uses to safeguard its officials. As the championship continues, this case may serve as a precedent, a reminder that discipline and respect are as vital to MotoGP as speed and skill. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!